Do you need a pick-me-up? Now, I'm not being a show-off when I say that our little online get-togethers like this podcast are probably good for your English. Okay, let's get the ball rolling.
Welcome to another Happy English podcast coming to you from New York City. And here's your English teacher, Michael.
All right, thank you, John, and thanks, everyone. It's Michael here from Happy English, and I help people speak English better. And this is Happy English Podcast, episode 937, Phrasal Nouns for Daily English Conversation. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Let me start with a quick question. Have you ever heard someone say, "Oh, we're having a little get-together this weekend"? Or maybe, "I could really use a pick-me-up." You might think, wait a second, isn't get a verb? Isn't get together a phrasal verb? Yep, but when we add a hyphen and use it as a noun, it becomes something totally different. Today, we're going to look at these kinds of phrases that native speakers use all the time, but they don't always show up in grammar books. These are called phrasal nouns. And for today's lesson, we're going to see how those verbs become nouns and how we use them in conversation. So, first things first, what is a phrasal noun? Basically, it's a noun that comes from a phrasal verb, and it usually has a hyphen, like sit down, get together, and pick me up. And here's something interesting. When we say the verb, we stress the second word, sit down, get together. But when we use the noun, we stress the first word, sit down, get together. Using the right intonation is important to distinguish whether you're saying a noun or a verb. All right, so now let's look at some common phrasal nouns and see how we use them. The first one is get together. A get together is like a small informal party. Nothing fancy, just some friends or relatives hanging out. Like this weekend, my friend Jack said, "Oh, hey, we're having a little get-together at my place Saturday night. Just pizza and friends." That's a get-together, not a big party, just a few people getting together to chat and relax. Like last weekend, some of my students and I had a nice get-together at the karaoke bar. A get-together. A casual gathering, like the verb get together, which means spend time with people. We also have a phrasal noun, which means a more formal gathering, a sit down. When you want to have a serious conversation with someone, you generally don't do that standing up, right? You sit down somewhere. Well, as a noun phrase, a sit down is a serious or formal conversation, usually face to face. Let's say Jack and his boss had a misunderstanding at work. Jack would say something like, "We need to have a sit down and talk it out." That means a meeting, a serious talk, not just a quick chat by the coffee machine. When Anna was having money problems with her husband, they had a long sit down and tried to come up with a plan. And speaking of serious issues, how about this one? A run-in. As a verb, if you run into something, it's like a collision, right? So with this image, a run-in means an argument, disagreement, or a bit of conflict with someone. Like my sister told me she had a run-in with her neighbor about a parking space at their apartment. It wasn't a huge fight, but it wasn't pleasant either. Naoko said she has a run-in with her boss every day, so they end up having to have a sit-down to work it out. That's one of the pleasures of being self-employed. No run-ins with the boss or weird coworkers. And if you do have a stressful day or a long day at work, you probably need a pick-me-up. A pick-me-up is something that gives you more energy or makes you feel better. It picks up your mood and emotion. It could be a coffee, a snack, or even a small gift. Like after a long day at work yesterday, I said, "Man, this iced coffee is just the pick-me-up I needed." Peter said that his sister sent him some cookies as a little pick-me-up when he was sick. It's a fun way to describe something that lifts your mood or energy. Yesterday, I needed a pick-me-up around 3 o'clock, so I had some chocolate. And finally, we have show-off. A show-off is a person who likes to get attention or brag about themselves. You know the type. Elena and I were watching a guy at the gym doing backflips between push-ups. And Elena said, what a show-off. Or when someone always talks about how much money they make or how amazing their vacation was, you might say, he's such a show-off. This happens a lot on social media. People like to post photos and videos of their exotic adventures. And not all, but a lot of phrasal nouns have the same meaning as the phrasal verb they come from. So if you hear them, you can probably guess the meaning. Like, a bottle of water at Yankee Stadium costs $8. What a ripoff. Or, I'm planning to have a meetup with some of the fans of this podcast next year. And a checkup once a year at the dentist is important. These expressions are super useful and help make your English sound more natural. They often show up in casual conversation, news articles, TV shows, and even in the business world. Okay, let's recap what we talked about today, and again, listen to the intonation. A get-together is a small informal party. A pick-me-up is something that boosts your mood or energy. A sit-down is a serious or formal conversation. A run-in is a minor conflict or argument. And a show-off is a person who tries to get attention or brag. And here's your challenge for this week. Try using one of these expressions in a conversation or in a sentence. Maybe say something like, we're planning a get-together next week, or that espresso was a nice pick-me-up. And hey, if you want to practice this kind of English with me and a group of other awesome English learners, come check out my Podcast Learners Study Group. We meet once a week and practice the language from these podcast lessons together. It's a great way to improve your speaking and build confidence, and have a lot of laughs along the way. Just check the link where you're listening to this podcast right now, or visit myhappyenglish.com and choose podcast episode 937 for more info. Hey, thanks for listening. And remember, learning another language is not easy, but it's not impossible. And I'm here to help you on your journey.
This podcast was brought to you by Happy English. Please visit myhappyenglish.com. Show your support for Happy English by leaving us a review. Get English, get happy, Happy English.